couldn't find my recording button.
Oh my god,
Son
panics.
of a bitch.
Sorry.
It's not. It's not even that you did the countdown. And here's the thing: I know Spanish, but like it was the different language that threw me too.
Sorry, I'm just a multilingual bitch this morning. Nine a.m. baby. Let's speak in. I was gonna say
6
let's speak
a.m.
in tongues. So we might as well.
Why not?
Why not?
Let's just all throw things.
I love it.
Ugh,
I'm sweating.
me too.
Oh god. Well, welcome back to Oddities, kids. I'm Cassie.
I'm Kelly.
And welcome back to Strange Town. Yada-da-da-da-da. Check out our social media, as per usual. We're going to be starting a TikTok shortly, I think. We will be starting a YouTube in the not too far future. We also are in the works of getting a brand new website. How exciting is that? But that's going to be, it's going to be a little bit.
Things happening.
Big things happening because we're trying to make money doing this.
Yes, we want to do big things for you guys.
I want to do this full time, and I want to make fun content for everybody, except for those couple of people that gave us the 1-star ratings.
Yeah,
they don't
the
get
ones
anything.
Who call us, prattling cows, because
intolerable prattling cows. So, any hoozles, stay tuned for that. Follow along on social media. Links are in the description. If you have any stories, please feel free to share them with us either through social or send us an email. The email information is also in our description, but it's oddities.talk@gmail.com. We've heard from a lot of you recently, which is so nice, and I think soon we're going to be able to do a listeners episode.
Do another, yeah.
I love those. We love it. And merch, shop it. There's links for that too. Thanks a million. Thanks a bunch. Patreon. One more thing.
Yeah. Come
Patreon.
join our one functioning shared brain cell.
Yes, 0.5 brain cell each. And
it's a real big talent considering we live on opposite sides of the country.
So everybody think on that for a while. And you can get a bonus episode from us every week for as low as $1 a month. We don't have the tiers like other creators do at this point, but we might do that to you in the future. I don't know. But for now, you can donate for as low as $1 a month. Pick your poison, kids. Just remember, that's like the same as 2 Starbucks drinks. For the entire year, you can have a bonus episode every week. That's a lot of weeks.
Which means that's double the fun of us a week.
And if it's hard to imagine, but do believe us on this, the bonus episodes are perhaps even more unhinged than these episodes are.
And chaotic.
We've got little teasers on Instagram and Facebook if you want to see them.
Yeah, Cassie is just chef's kiss on that. So
thank you, the queen of editing. One day we will be able to hire an editor who can do even better than I can, for I was not trained in these things. But anyway, kids, that's all we've got. Stay strange, take care, have a good week, bye. It's a 3-minute episode.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. How are you, my borsty? I know life's been a challenge.
It's been a week.
It's been a week. Okay.
You know, I get knocked down, but I get up again.
I freaking love that song.
I do too, but I feel like it is my soundtrack right now.
Chumbawamba.
It's been a week. But you know, I get knocked down and I get up again.
And we're doing this, and this is fun.
Yeah, and this, I really have been looking forward to this, and my alarm went off at 5:30, and I was like, I get to go see my bestie. So,
it's very early for Kelly right now, so she has important things going on today. But I really don't mind,
because right now it's nice and cool, and not
I know.
Flames.
We're going to be swamp ass today, too. But then after today, we've had a few days here, and then it's going to cool down over here, so I'm happy about that.
It's not going to do that here. But anyway.
Continuous flames for California.
Yeah.
Slightly less swamp ass for Pennsylvania.
It's,
Sweaty bum, baby.
Sweaty. It's just been a lot here. You know what's been going on. I'm not going to get too much into it, but my little one is starting school pretty much just like next week. So
shoop da whoop, so exciting.
Yeah, they're very excited about it all, so that's really cute and it's adorable. And he's like decorated his little desk, and it's
Winning.
so cute. It's so adorable. Um,
You know what I love,
and
real quick? When I say things like shoop de whoop and you don't even react because you're so used to me saying stupid shit like that.
but I say stupid stuff like that too. Am I
I
supposed
know.
to react?
No, it's just so it just kills me that we're so used to that type of thing now.
I love
Okay,
Doop.
okay,
Anyways,
carry on.
how
His
was your
agenda.
week?
My week was a garbage bag too. So,
Yeah, there
um,
you go.
we got
Here we are at the
some.
highlight.
Yeah, we have some things going on with my health at the moment that are a little questionable. So, getting that looked at from
Squared
a
away.
variety of angles, but shall be okay. Nobody worry, it'll be fine. And I'm excited to share, though. We're going to start painting our dining room today. Sayonara orange. Hello,
What
juniper
color?
berries.
Oh, that's
Yes.
so.
If,
I
if,
ooh.
I know. So if anybody's curious, it's juniper berries by Bear. Not sponsored, but we could be. Bear. And
I'm just gonna Google that.
it's nice. It's like a blue, green, gray. It's very nice. It's moody, like me. And so we're gonna paint all of those. We're gonna paint the walls matte, and then in the future, but we're gonna work on finishing the rest of the house first. But in the future, we're gonna put a picture frame molding, and we're gonna do very monochrome. So it's gonna be juniper berries, but we're gonna do that in like a semi gloss, so that the picture frame
Ooh,
molding stands out a little bit. You know, you see what I'm saying? It's like a little je
that's
ne sais
so
quoi.
pretty.
Isn't that nice? I'm about to spend all my time in our dining room. I don't know. Just a side note. I don't know what the fuck the people here before us were doing. So you know how like in dining rooms, like
It's like a burnt terracotta,
it's
bright
it is
orange.
so orange, and it's like the type of orange. And then we have window like some big windows in there, and so when the light hits it just right, like you walk into that room and you like fall on your ass. It is just so bright. And
Mm-hmm.
so you know in like dining rooms too, like typically people don't have like a ton of shit on the walls. Like maybe you have like a little bit of artwork, like something like that. The
Yeah.
number of holes that I had to spackle in this fucking room. I mean, just what the fuck? What were they doing? We don't know. We don't know. We have
We
no
don't know.
idea. We have
We
no
have no
idea.
idea.
So, anyway, we've been in this house nearly a year, and I'm still pretty much daily asking myself, what the fuck were these people doing here before us?
It
And
has
we'll never
almost been a
know.
year, huh?
Yeah, like 2 weeks or
That
so.
flew by.
A time flies when you're painting every square inch of a fucking house. Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you. Well, so that's the latest and greatest in Cassie's home improvement. The thing that I love the most, though, is the team that I'm on at work. They are all very invested at this point on my home improvement, like different things, and I just love the support. I really do.
I
So
love that. I love
they were
that. You know
thrilled
what?
when I
We're
did my
about
office. Yeah.
we I am this close to just surprising the heck out of everyone and just painting my living room while Michael's at work one day.
Do it, do it, do it, do
Cuz
it, do it.
my
Yeah.
entire house is yellow and we've just been like slowly doing things, right?
Hmm.
Enough's enough. I can't look at the
We
yellow
can't take it
anymore.
anymore. Okay.
And I've like and the thing is like I've been like really debating how I want things done, right?
Okay.
I've decided what I want how I want things done and it's all going to be like I don't know, I've decided earth tone
Nice. Ooh,
with
nice.
very dramatic accent walls.
Ooh, fun. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Like I've been staring at my fireplace wall. It's gonna be surprises. That's all I'm gonna say. Because
We
there's
love
certain people who listen
surprises.
to these podcasts, so we'll just leave it at that.
Oh, surprise, bitch. Yeah, I had a. Well, here's the nice thing about paint, right? So I had a family member when we did my office. For those of you who are
I
not
love your
patron, like
office.
my.
Your
Actually,
office makes me happy.
thank you. It's a very deep teal blue. And I had a family member be like, I love it. You know, I think it's just like, you went with a really bold color. I think that's so cool. That's something I could never do. And the first thing that came to mind is like, well, the nice thing about paint is if you hate it, you can paint over it. Like it's not there's not much in life that lasts forever. So like, paint being one of those things. So if you want the dramatic walls, go for the dramatic walls. Because if you
Yep.
love it, wonderful. If you end up hating it, you can change it, you know? Like it's cool.
And I had a family member say, well, if you do dramatic walls, remember, when you try to resell again, people are gonna like that might turn people away. And I'm like, well, I'm not painting my walls for future buyers
Right.
or
Because you can
future
always,
owners of the house. Because
before you
one,
put your house up, you can always paint.
I can always paint. Two, I'm not renting from future owners.
Right.
I own my home.
Yes. Right.
So,
Right. Exactly. So you
just
might as
saying.
well, have fun with it, right? So
Yep.
that's also not to say though, like to the people who love yellows and to the people who love orange walls and to the people who, love just like all neutrals. That's cool too. Just like the moral of the story is paint your shit how you want to paint your shit.
I do have to wonder though sometimes because I've seen some crazy ass painted houses.
Oh yeah.
And it makes me wonder, did you paint that house thinking it was a different color? Colorblind people.
I mean, maybe. Or like, did it just come out and be like totally different from what you expected?
And then you were
Like,
like, oh well.
and you're like, well, we've committed to this. This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The big questions in life, people. That's all there is to it.
The really big questions in life.
So we're a couple minutes shy of our usual 13, but here we are at sweet 11, and I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You wanna party? You wanna get a
Let's.
little spooky?
Oh yeah, I've got deep subject today.
Do you?
Yes. So this has been
Burning.
a burning topic for me since like April, honestly.
Burning. Oh, wow, you've been hanging on to this. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Because
right.
I've been wanting like more finishing thing, but I was like, I can't. I want to talk about it.
All right, well, I'm ready, Freddie. Let's What is wrong with me today with my like catchphrases? I'm ready, Fred. What am I? Stepped up right out of the fucking 1950s? What am I doing? Go on.
I don't know, but
Carry
I
on.
love it. I'm here
Thank
for
you.
it.
Thank you. That's like when we were covering Stan Romanek the other week, and I just got stuck in this endless loop of different names for him.
I'm here for it. I'm
Thank
loving
you.
it.
We love the support.
Um,
uh,
I'm gonna start off by saying this will be disturbing to some listeners.
oh, good.
So,
Okay.
mass deaths. If you will be triggered by this, please go ahead and skip to Cassie. You will not offend me.
For a good
It's
time,
okay.
call. Yeah, that's right.
Cassie.
That's right.
Today I'm going to be talking about the Kenya Doomsday Starvation cult.
Ooh, spookalabook. I love cults. I mean, I love cults not in the sense that I support cults unless it's the Church of Swift.
They're
but
just so fascinating, correct?
cults are really like, yeah, like I love sitting and thinking about cults, which,
Here's the twist.
yeah.
This one's still unraveling today.
Oh, mother of God. Okay. I know nothing about this cult, so this is going to be a
So,
ride for me.
yeah, here you go.
Yeah, hit me. Educate me.
Just remember, kids, if it quacks,
It's a cult.
there you go.
That's it. If it quacks, it's a cult.
We're traveling down to Kenya, where a man by the name of Paul Mackenzie has unfortunately somehow created another doomsday cult.
What a fuckhead.
And unfortunately, this one is unfolding as I bring it to you, Oddities, today. Mackenzie has lived with hundreds of followers in makeshift homes made of polythene sheeting and thatch in a
Okay.
remote forest camp that he divided in areas with biblical names such
Oh,
as
good.
Jerusalem and Judah.
But of course, Judah.
Yeah.
Oh, Judah. I was thinking Judas. Carry on. Go. I was like, who wants to live in that one? All right, go ahead.
This information that has surfaced has come from survivors and family members of victims.
Oh, okay.
He calls the homes of his church the Good News Church.
Oh, ugh.
Disclaimer,
Ugh.
there's nothing good news about this
There are
church.
we don't have any good news here. Okay.
Um,
You know what blows my mind? Is that this shit, whatever is coming, is that it can happen, like, it's still happening today. Like cults are, like, still very, it just blows my
yeah.
mind. Yeah.
Mackenzie told his followers that the world as they knew it was going to end in August. And in a series of YouTube videos, and Satan was going to rule for 1,000 years.
Oh, all
ordered
hail
them-
Stan.
He ordered them to starve themselves and their children to death in order for them to go to heaven and meet Jesus ahead of the doomsday date.
Wow, this all seems very extreme. But I do have to say, Hail Santa. It's Satan but mixed up.
I see what you did there.
Okay, all right.
My dyslexia saw what you did there.
That's what I was thinking when I said it. All right.
Mackenzie said, I heard the voice of Christ telling me that the work I gave you to preach end time messages for 9 years has come to an end. This was said in a video he posted to YouTube in March of this year.
Oh, Jesus.
I attempted to find the video and was not successful. He went on to say, I followed the voice and that told me that I finished the work.
Oh, we're done. We're done here. You did. Okay.
In all seriousness, like other cult leaders that I have covered, you're hearing voices.
Yeah, like maybe this is a flag, yeah. But, I mean...
To me, this is a flag.
Joan of Arc also heard voices, and I think she's a boss, so I really can't,
The fight for followers for more followers, began in early March. Red flags emerged about Mackenzie when a local man told police that his brother and his wife starved their children to death in the forest on Mackenzie's orders. According to court documents, officers went to the forest and found 2 shallow graves of the couple's sons. The officers were able to rescue a third child who was weak and emaciated.
Oh.
Mackenzie was arrested and was being held pending murder investigations, but due to lack of evidence, essentially he said, she said, he was released on 10,000 shillings bail, which, by the way, is $73.
Shillings? I'm sorry, we just had like a Pirates of the Caribbean moment. 10,000 shillings? What the?
Yeah.
$73 is what he was released on? For this shit?
Well, that's what the equivalent
right, but still, like,
yeah.
Doesn't that seem... That seems... Maybe we should have gone like 10 million shillings?
Well, there wasn't enough evidence to hold him for actual murder.
I just feel wrong about that. Carry on.
Yeah. After he was released, suddenly the doomsday date jumped from August to April, specifically April 15th.
Tax day.
I thought the same thing.
Well, that explains it.
The next few quotes are from a survivor of the cult who was cast out specifically because they drank water.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
The moment he got back, he called a meeting. He said the world was ending, and therefore we, the chosen ones, needed to go ahead, and before the world ends and the problems come.
Oh, I got news for them. The problems are already here. They've been here for a while.
Yeah.
Like...
As your leader, Mackenzie said, I will go last. I will close the door. You chosen ones will proceed before me, and we will meet with Christ.
Oh, okay. Of course, this guy's gonna go last. This is like all like, okay, let's jump at the same time, and then you just
this is all red flags.
Yes, quack quack.
This is just like Jones did. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
He had ordered first the children, then the women, next certain men, then special chosen ones, and then he would be the last. It had to be done this way.
Okay, says him.
Yeah.
And the voice is in his head.
Yeah. We were not allowed to let the outside world in. The children could not go to school, for it was evil. The school would teach them things like lesbianism and gayism. Women could not have long hair and must cut it short. Makeup was forbidden too.
Wow.
Like, the control.
The control is 0% fun, of course. Yeah.
On April 13th, local officials received a tip to go back to the forest. When they did, they found 15 emaciated bodies, or people, laying in the forest. police confirmed 4 of them being so weak they passed away before arriving to the hospital to receive help.
Oh.
The following day, Mackenzie was arrested again. Police began combing through the forest, and on April 21st, they began exhuming mass graves. In the late weeks of April, after that video was posted, the cult became the focus of a national horror with the discovery of more than 100 bodies found in a mass grave. Unfortunately, most of that being children.
Ugh. This is making me nauseous. This is like a nauseous one.
Yeah. They were found in the Shokohala forest of the southeast Kenya, which we now know is the location of his, quote, church.
Ah, okay.
I wanted to know more about this evil man.
Right.
And I didn't find much, but what I did find was interesting. He grew up in rural Kalwe County in southeastern Kenya in the early 1990s. He didn't really grow up religious.
Okay.
He seemed to have like a standard life. Like,
yeah.
I found a very interesting interview with a previous coworker that he had working at a taxi driving company.
Okay.
And this is what he had to say about him. He was unusually confrontational towards authorities.
Ah, okay.
He once went to court to fight a very small fine. He went on to say he stood his ground and he hated losing. He said Mackenzie became increasingly focused on religion and started attending a Baptist church for a few years and then eventually quit his job driving a taxi. That was a red flag for me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why, but it was just like the way he said it was just red flag. That was an interview I watched.
Weird. Yeah.
His coworker went on to say him and his family actually attended a church that Mackenzie started then.
Oh, okay.
Until he started attacking other faiths like Catholicism because his preaching became extreme.
As if Catholicism isn't extreme enough already.
Yeah. In 2017, police searched a compound of his and found 43 children living there without attending school. He was charged with offering an education without an unregistered facility, but after a plea bargain, continued his teachings. And in 2019, he was ordered by police to shut that church down, and then he relocated to the forest. And that's
like you do. Okay.
And that's where he started his doomsday cult.
What a winner this guy is.
So essentially, his doomsday cult has been going since 2019, roughly.
Yeah. God, that's so recent. 2019 is like 4 years ago. That's nothing. Yeah.
To this date, Mackenzie is still in custody and awaiting trial. He is eating and not starving. To date, more than 400 bodies have been uncovered.
Ugh.
But over 200 people are still missing from their families and are believed to be involved in this cult.
Oh, boy. Do you think they're still alive, or do you think they just haven't been discovered yet?
I think they haven't been discovered yet.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah, probably.
Which is extremely unfortunate.
This
whole thing has caused great upset in the country.
Yeah.
The president has spoken on it several times. Like, this is actually quite a big deal in Kenya right now.
It should be. Yeah.
Like I said, I've been following it since April. And I do actually plan on doing a part 2 to this.
Yeah.
Especially when the trial has been carried out.
Sure.
I want to say a huge thank you to my sister Stacy for bringing this topic to me.
Oh, thanks, Stacy.
We've been talking about it frequently. By the way. I also think I'm going to be covering cults in a general.
The psychology of cults is really interesting.
Because it's so interesting to me. I just I would love to know. And I really wanted to find videos of like his speakings because I'm like, how does he speak so powerfully that he even was able to split up families. Like there's a man who's looking for his wife and children right now because she took her kids away from her husband because she believed in this man and his speaking so much.
And it's like happened throughout history, right? Like I mean, look at like
Yeah.
Hitler. Like it's just like this thing, and it's like, damn, what are these people fucking saying that everybody's like, hell yeah. There's also probably like some fear mongering aspect, and whatever else. But yeah,
Yeah.
shit,
It's just
yeah,
wild.
that is wild. That's so sad. That's so many people, and all like what a terrible way to die, starvation.
Right?
Ugh, that
And
sucks.
that is
But that was a
the
good. I mean, you did a good
Kenya
job. But
Starvation Doomsday Cult.
wow, that's sad. But good job. I
Thank
can't
you.
believe I haven't heard about this.
Yeah. It's
It should be more widespread covered or covered more. You know what I'm trying to say? Covered
yeah,
more.
more widespread coverage.
Why? Thank
The
you.
BBC is doing a good job covering it.
Way to go,
And then
BBC.
there's a few other news apps that I follow
Outlets.
that cover it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. Mine's in an entirely different direction.
Yeah, take
0%
us.
related to cults. Mine's operating heavily in the realm of spookalabook in the traditional sense because we're talking about ghosties in
Yes.
Galveston City, Tejas, Texas, Toast. We're talking about Texas. Yeehaw. Things are bigger in Texas. Land of the cowboys. Giddy up,
Take us there.
partner. All right, here we go. The city has made several lists of one of the most haunted cities in the U.S. Most of the ghost sightings that are reported in Galveston, they're in August and September, which happens to coincide with the anniversary for the hurricane. So let's talk about the
Ooh.
hurricane. This is fun because we are in fact entering hurricane season here. So
Yeah,
whoopty
and my For
fucking
You
do.
page is like, be warned. And I'm like, I'm on the West Coast. What am I warning for?
Don't worry, we're gonna have rain out the ass and everything else, and it's gonna be. Do worry. And to the people who are like, I'm not evacuating when they say evacuate, guys, maybe reconsider. Like, probably not the move. Anyway, the hurricane that I've mentioned is referring to the 1900 hurricane that submerged Galveston. It is one of the worst natural disasters in recorded human history, apparently. Have I ever heard of
Wow.
it prior to researching this? Absolutely not. But behold, here we are. So it is a storm that appeared to come without warning to the residents of it's actually, or at the time was the fourth largest city in Texas. The Weather Bureau began receiving warnings that a tropical disturbance had moved northward over Cuba of September 4th that year, and they believed it was heading towards Florida. And unfortunately, that was all that the only report forecasters received because the National Weather Bureau director blocked telegraph messages from Cuban meteorologists. Very helpful,
Okay.
very good, great, right? Yeah, it was because of the ongoing tensions around the Spanish-American War, apparently. Maybe perhaps we don't include weather-related events. Let's keep those separate from war things, maybe. Just saying. Anyway, it forced the offices to seek authorization from the central office before issuing storm warnings. And then the morning of September 8th, so a few days later, large ocean swells, they took over. They started to show up on the Texas coast along with some rain clouds. They rolled in around midday. That wasn't so concerning. Like, the residents didn't even evacuate the city. However, according to the book Isaac's Storm, which is by meteorologist Isaac Klein, it issued a hurricane warning and personally traveled. He issued a hurricane warning and personally traveled by horse to warn people of this storm coming, which is very cool. It's giving Paul Revere, but for hurricanes. So the night of September 8th, the Category 4 hurricane comes onshore. It has a 936 MB. I don't know what MB stands for, but it has to do with pressure. And the winds are between 130 and 156 miles per hour, and the storm surges hit 15 feet. Rain totals were so high, they were between 8 to 10 inches across the region, and it killed an estimated 8,000 people.
Oh my.
20% of the city's population. It destroyed 7,000 buildings. It left 10,000 people homeless. Many of the hauntings, of course, seem to stem from this hurricane, which I would not be surprised by
Yeah.
if we were operating in the realm of yes, ghosts exist. But some hauntings are also attributed to something called the saffron scourge, which also refers to a yellow fever epidemic that ripped through Louisiana and parts of Texas in the 1800s. So we've got a colorful history in this region. Um,
Yeah.
and the stories of hauntings draw a lot of people to the island each year in hopes of catching, like, sights of a ghost. There are dozens of buildings and areas around Galveston that people who live there believe are haunted. Um, I have a list of the supposed 12 most haunted places in Galveston in case anybody wants to do a Galveston road trip. It's the Moody Mansion, Haunted Bishop's Palace, Ghosts of the Broadway Cemetery, Haunted Galveston Railroad Museum, Ghosts of Ashton Villa, the Haunted Mayfield Manor, Hotel Galvez, the Old City Cemetery, Ghosts of St. Mary's Orphanage, the Haunted Stewart's Mansion, Ghosts of the Tremont House Hotel, and the Van Alstyne House. I'm covering just like 3 of these. I decided to look at like 3 of the most haunted ones. So we're starting with Moody Mansion. It is a 28,000 square foot home of mystery. It has a lot of character. It's a one-of-a-kind building. It stood through the hurricane, actually. So it was built
Wow.
in 1895 for Narcissa Willis. And the Moody Mansion was first the Willis Mansion. And she actually wanted the house much sooner. She was a socialite. She wanted this, like, big, stately home to impress her, like, growing social sphere or whatever. But her husband, Richard, controlled the money, the purse
Of
strings,
course.
what have you. So he was a prosperous cotton broker, and he could afford this mansion. But unlike Narcissa, he preferred to keep his assets liquid, and cash was easier to inherit than property, especially when you were dividing it amongst 10 children. Holy
Okay.
hell.
Somebody was busy.
Yeah, by the end of it, she didn't even need a push, right? It was just a slip and slide. Those babies were just flying the fuck out of that, okay? Regrettably, the Willis children would never receive their inheritance. So he dies, Richard, in 1892, and Narcissa funnels his fortune into the Willis mansion against her husband's wishes. She's like, oh, dead. Guess what I'm going to do now? So she commissions the home within a year of his death, and she then became estranged from her family. Her children never visited the home. She felt that the extravagance of the estate would encourage her children to bury the hatchet. But she was basically avoided, abhorred, and alienated from her offspring. And so she remains in Moody Mansion. Outside the housekeeper, she was the only occupant. And her isolation, though, was relatively short-lived. She dies in 1899, and then her daughter Beatrice puts the mansion up for sale. There have been no, like, visual specific hauntings, some say, like, in person. People have heard a lot of disembodied voices. They've heard unidentified footsteps. People say that Narcissa is still wandering Moody Mansion. The most common phenomenon, though, happens with photographs. Pictures are taken at the site. They often reveal people who aren't there, and the guests are blurred
Oh.
or a little bit indistinct, but some believe that they are apparitions. And so spirit photography is especially popular at Moody Mansion. People say that they've seen faces in pictures and everything else. So why is it called Moody Mansion, though? Yes. So Libby Moody, yes.
This is also like, what's her name?
Winchester?
No, Narcissus?
Oh, Narcissa. I know, it's like Harry
Narcissa.
Potter, right?
Yeah, I'm like, and then Moody Mansion, and
I
I'm
know.
like, was this inspired?
Big Harry Potter energy.
I'm sorry. Continue. Like, I'm stuck on it. Anyways, go
No,
ahead.
it's. I was thinking the same thing when I was researching this shit. So the Moody's. So Libby Moody convinces her husband William to enter a bid on the mansion. They're like, "Hey, let's do this for shiggles, right?" But it was one of many bids.
Shiggles.
Yeah. After the 1900 hurricane, most of the other bidders withdrew because they were like, "Well, this place sucks." Anyway, the home had been valued around $100,000. They acquire it for only $20,000. So
Okay.
snaps. Libby and William's tenure at Moody Mansion was pretty unremarkable. They had a quiet, pretty successful existence. Members of the Moody family remained in the house until 1986, with the last residents being their daughter, Mary. The only scandal that involved the Moody family occurs when William leaves everything to Mary, cutting his other children out of his will. But even that was kind of resolved, like, on the side with relatively quiet dignity, if you will. So he dies, 1954. Flags across Texas are flown at half-mast. He had big respect from his fellow Texans, and it was a testament to his supposed upstanding character. He had his fingers in pretty much every pie imaginable. So he had shit going on in cotton, banking, land, ranching, insurance, publishing, hotels, This guy had like the Midas touch. Everything turned to gold with William Moody.
Okie dokie then.
Okay. Libby was worried that her husband was working himself to death, and he replied, quote, "Do not worry about me, for my capacity for work seems endless, and I really enjoy it. It is just like playing cards, and succeeding is winning."
Oh,
I, when I
okay.
when I got that, I was like, "All right, buddy. Like, okay, let's
We're
relax."
feeling lucky.
Anyway, William and Libby set up, their name lives on in the Moody Foundation. It's set up in 1942, and it involves social services, children's needs, community development, education. There's buildings on campus at a college, so we love it. It's great.
Okay.
So their enterprise, their empire, it was so esteemed in Galveston that the Moody Mansion became the Moody Museum in 1986, and it is a museum now. And the home has been historically preserved.
I need to go to the Moody Museum.
Big time. I love museums.
Yeah.
All right, we've got Bishop's Palace. So, Bishop's Palace also withstood the storm, big enough that it actually saved the lives of 200 people who went into it for refuge during the hurricane. Isn't that bananas?
Yeah.
So, it was a beacon for safety in Galveston then, but today people report inexplicable pushing, scratching, tripping, and punching from unseen forces. Rude. And it's not even when you're in the house. If they stand or pass by the front of the house, they do that. Now I'm like, okay, here's something that's weird. What if the pushing and shit like that, it's actually ghosts running to the house because they're
I
stuck
was
in
about
like
to
a
say the
hurricane loop?
same thing.
God,
Like
I love
pushing,
our
shoving,
minds.
just trying to get into the house for safety.
Right? Yeah.
That
Anyway,
makes sense.
There's no real reports of tragedies inside the home, but those who are sensitive to spirits say that Bishop's Palace is saturated in paranormal activity. So, there's the Gresham ghosts there, so that would be the most infamous inhabitants of Bishop Palace. They are Walter and Josephine Gresham. Of course, their presence is no surprise. They commissioned the estate, they lived within it, and their 9 children until everybody died. So, I mean, everybody, like the whole family lived there for ages. Anyway, they allegedly move about the mansion. They're attentive to the property's improvements and progressions. If you keep your eyes peeled, it's said that you can see Walter pacing the halls. He's particularly active during hurricanes, leading some to believe that his frequency is protective rather than something like sinister.
That makes
And
sense.
yeah, and some even say that he's a relatively anxious apparition. He's very he nervously frets about. Meanwhile, Josephine's most notable haunting involves her former card box. The box remains within the home, and it's said to move throughout the home on its own. And it contains relics from her travels. It makes it very sensitive to supernatural energies, some say, and perhaps it explains why it's never where you left it, because it's full of stuff from her travels. So she picks it up and moves around with it, but it's pretty, innocent, but it's still a little spookala-bookala, right?
Spooker.
Building the palace, it was designed by an architect named Nicholas J. Clayton. It was built for $250,000 at the time. So I can only imagine what that is now. Astronomical.
Yeah.
They tagged the property Gresham's Castle because it was built to look like kind of this chateau. It has a sprawling square footage. It's big. It took over 6 years to build. It's very intricate. It's very ornamental when you look at it. The foundation is constructed from limestone, but the facade is sandstone and granite, and it's 3 stories high. So a little bit more about Walter. He was born in 1841. He founded the Gulf, Colorado, and Santa Fe Railroad. He earned his reputation basically as this railway magnate. So he was a Civil War veteran. He was an attorney and a politician, and he was one of the highest paid attorneys in the state of Texas. So he was big on success. Then he marries Josephine in 1868. He's elected to as the Galveston County District Attorney. Then he's elected to Texas Legislature in 1887. And then that's the same year that the house is built. And even in the 19th century, most politicians like Gresham couldn't escape some kind of controversy. According to a Fort Worth Star-Telegram article from 1911, he was put in custody of the sheriff when he refused to show up for a Senate investigating committee about politicians receiving funding from liquor companies. Which I love that. But he still has a pretty squeaky clean reputation overall, and he's known in being instrumental in the construction of Galveston's seawall. He also traveled to Washington, D.C. to push for federal funding for the island's harbor. But then he has a sudden death, and that kind of casts gloom throughout the city because he was like very much linked to the commercial and business life of the island. And so he dies during 1920. Their home is sold 3 years later, and then he's returned to Galveston, where he was interred. And you can find his gravestone, if you're curious, in Lakeview Cemetery. But his ghost is in the home. So who is Josephine? She, like many affluent women of her time, she loved throwing big parties and playing the role of hostess. Yep. She was so thoughtful about her guests' comfort in Gresham's castle that she would lay pillows on the staircase during parties so guests could stop and take a nap if they grew tired of festivities. Talk about a fucking rager that they were getting so lit that they had to take a nap on the stairs in the middle of it.
The level of hospitality.
Love
I
it.
love it.
She loved greenery. She transformed the home into this, they say, a residential jungle with vines crawling, covering the walls and staircase banisters. And it's said that her dedication to hospitality is what helps to keep her spirit tied to Bishop's Palace today. She was also an artist. She painted murals throughout the home. Angels on the ceiling above the dining room. If you look closely, you'll see that each angel has distinct facial characteristics, and they were reportedly painted to represent each of her 9 children. And so you can still see her artistry in the palace today, above the dining room table. Why is it called Bishop's Palace, though? You may be wondering. The Galveston-Houston Diocese of the Catholic Church purchases the house in 1923 for $40,500. Gresham's Castle then became Bishop's Palace, named for the Most Reverend Christopher C.E. Byrne. He lived at the home until he died of a heart attack at 82. He was so well respected that 8,000 people attended his funeral, which is bananas.
Wow.
And then it got turned over to the Newman Club 3 months later, and it was open to the public. And today, it's now owned by a historical foundation that was acquired in 2013. So relatively new, 10 years ago. We also have the Broadway Cemetery, and it's a district of cemeteries, actually, which is pretty wild. So it was plotted between 1839 and 1939. It incorporates 7 distinct cemeteries. And don't be fooled by the surface, though. These burial grounds are actually 3 layers deep. So there are an estimated 12,000 grave markers, but there are 3 times that amount of bodies buried. They're buried in levels underneath the ground. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
As for some key inhabitants, there's Elise Romer Alberti, who newspapers called the Demented Mother for murdering her 4 children. There's Nicaragua Smith, an arsonist and Confederate soldier executed by a firing squad. Smith was buried in an unmarked grave where he was formerly put to death. And the Demented Mother was buried with the same children that she poisoned. What were we thinking? Makes sense. What were we thinking? So, anyway, they're just 2 haunted hosts of this necropolis, if you will. So, before it was established, it replaced a more temporary burial fashion. There was, settlers would bury their dead in like sand dunes near the Gulf of Mexico, but the sand would shift or reshape, uncovering coffins and whatnot. So, the sand dunes at the time were a simple way to inter the dead, but ultimately ineffective, right? So then we have the yellow fever epidemic that I mentioned earlier. And they were like, okay, these burying methods are unfit given all this shit that's going on. It claimed 250 Galveston lives back in 1839. The saffron scourge saturated the city. So to improve burial conditions, the city charter was tasked with the creation of a burial ground, public burial ground. And then so that's where the district comes in. The Galveston City Company donates 4 blocks of land for the cause. We erect the Old City Cemetery. These burial grounds at the time were outside of city limits. Their location was particularly appropriate, remote from residential and commercial properties, yet near enough to transport the bodies. Those who were buried in the dunes beforehand were exhumed and reinterred in the new cemeteries. But not everybody made the relocation, of course. Some were too disfigured by the elements. There were some newly discovered residents, too, unidentified bodies that were unearthed and from unnamed graves. And then 2 more blocks of land were donated in 1844, allowing for the creation of the Trinity Episcopal Cemetery and the Old Catholic Cemetery. And then 5 additional cemeteries were established throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, bringing us to the full cemetery district that we have today. Grade raises occurred because throughout the 20th century, the burials, with burials occurring above burials. So because of these man-made elevations, some graves of the Broadway Cemetery District are, like I've said, 3 bodies deep. The Old City Cemetery is 200 years old. It's the region's earliest. It was initially allotted additional space for the German Lutheran Church, the Independent Order of Odd Fellows, which I want to be a part of, and the Protestant Orphans Burial Ground, making for a very distinctive but diversified demographic. And so it's no surprise that it's considered one of the most unnerving graveyards, right? I talk a little bit about the demented mother, but I can cover her more in depth too. But essentially, she suffered from severe postpartum depression, which may shed light on why she did these acts. But her method of murdering her children was morphine in wine. She gave her kids wine with morphine in it.
Oh,
like you do.
Okay.
Here, kids, have this juice. Anyway, she attempted to justify her actions by explaining that she had been ill for the last 8 months. And she's quoted saying, quote, "I could not fill my obligations to my babies. They are better off." I think there's a lot that can be said about this, especially with postpartum depression and everything. And
there's a lot to unpack.
There's a lot to unpack there. So I could do a whole episode on her if we're curious, but that's just one of the kind of and then they go and they bury her with her kids. I don't know. It all feels a little convoluted to me.
I don't know why you would do that, but okay.
I just I don't know that was the move.
Yeah.
There's several. There's Potter's Field and Oleander Cemetery. Potter's Field is the second oldest cemetery. It's known as the pauper's grave or common grave because it was historically where, quote, indigents are buried. And the origins of the moniker come from the New Testament. For example, Judas is interred in a potter's field, the burying place for strangers. So there's really a lot of unmarked graves in that one. There's nearly 1,000 interments in Potter's Field. And it was erected within the burial grounds after the Battle of Galveston in 1863. And then it's provided formal burial space for veterans as well. But if you were without money or family, you could also still rest easy. So that's kind of all there is to say about that. There's the guy, one of Oleander Cemetery's most infamous inhabitants is Nicaragua Smith. He was an arsonist and burglar who abandoned the Confederate Army in 1862. He was tried for desertion and executed by a firing squad on the 8th of January, 1863.
Wow.
He got 6 bullets in him and a few in the coffin, and he fell into the coffin, and they buried him where he laid, quote. There you go.
That was intense.
I know. There are rumors that he frequents his unmarked grave on the anniversary of his death. And so there's a handful of other ones. We've got the Yellow Fever Yard, and that's where it had been initiated in response to the yellow fever epidemic. The burials occurred so quickly, however, that the deceased were left unidentified. So to this day, their graves are unmarked. And there's even a Hebrew Benevolent Society cemetery. Yes, I know. So after the 6-year-old son of Isidore Dyer died, a small section of Potter's Field was allotted to Galveston's Jewish community. They were able to establish their own private burial ground in 1868. However, no however about it. I don't know why I wrote that in there. Anyway, it was called the Hebrew Benevolent Society Cemetery, and that was at the bequest of Rosanna Osterman, who died in a steamboat explosion the preceding year. I don't know much about her, but I can if we're interested. So is it haunted?
Okay.
Is it haunted?
Yes.
I would say yes. Alberti and Smith are the most notable haunts, but there aren't just things there like that. There's also soldiers, there's sailors, statesmen, scientists, philanthropists, pioneers, all those unmarked graves, people who passed with that epidemic. There's a lot of trauma there. So it's known to be a hotspot for spookala bookala activity. And that is just a few highlights of the Galveston City hauntings and ghosts.
So we're going to Galveston?
We're going to Galveston. I think we should.
Yes.
If I'm going to Texas, I'm going to tell you exactly when I'm not going. And it's the dead of summer because fuck that. Hot.
And not hurricane season, obviously.
And not hurricane season because they didn't fare very well the one time around, so let's not chance it.
Yeah.
How about December? We could do December or January. That works.
Yeah.
Let's go in the dead of winter. So anyway, kids, that's the Spookala Bookala Galveston. This was not a listener one. This is just one that I happened across. If you want more stories or you want anything on the figures that I've mentioned, please let me know and I can do a separate episode about them. But that's it. That's what I got. Spookascary skeletons.
That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Great
I
job.
appreciate it. Thanks so much. So, kids, if it quacks like a duck, it's a cult. And, I don't know, ghosts. Those are our takeaways today. And until next time.
Stay strange.